The morning light filtered into the quiet residential neighborhood of Northbrook, illuminating the kitchen of her cozy yet elegant home. Jennifer Miller prepared breakfast while the aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air. The impeccably tidy kitchen had white pots with herbs lined up on the countertop, a small detail that represented the simple joys she had learned to appreciate at 32. That morning, Jennifer had woken up a little earlier than usual to prepare breakfast with care. She wore a simple cotton dress, and while arranging her shoulder-length brown hair, she glanced at the wall clock whose ticking sounded softly in the background. 6:45. She still had plenty of time. The toast with honey was ready. Although her tableware wasn't expensive, she had chosen it carefully and arranged everything tastefully. The oatmeal had fresh blueberries as a garnish, and the whole wheat toast was perfectly golden and crisp. Michael looked up from his newspaper and gave her a warm smile. "Thanks, Jenny. As always, the toast is perfect. There's no better way to start the day than with your breakfast." Despite his position as senior vice president at an IT company, Michael wore a discreet navy blue suit. They were a couple who valued a simple and unpretentious life. Mornings together were always quiet and comforting. They had been married for years, and their relationship was based on respect and mutual understanding. Just as Michael was about to take a sip of his coffee, Jennifer's cell phone vibrated on the table. She looked at the screen. "Dad?" "So early," she thought as she answered. Her father, Robert's voice sounded on the other end of the line with an unusually lively tone. "Jenny, today is our wedding anniversary, and we want to have a family dinner at Lil Blue. Can you and Michael come at 7:30? Jennifer hesitated for a moment. Just hearing the name of the exclusive restaurant in Gold Coast, Chicago, made her tighten her lips. Her parents had always led an ostentatious lifestyle, something that deeply bothered her. They had settled in a huge mansion in Wilmette, surrounded by unnecessary luxuries. Her mother, Patricia in particular, never missed an opportunity to show off her wealth, even in front of her own daughters. While she was still debating what to answer, her cell phone screen lit up with a new message. It was from her sister, Ashley. "Answer quickly. You're going to miss our parents' anniversary again. How long are you going to keep being so stubborn? You're a grown woman, Jennifer." Jennifer sighed. Ashley, despite her position as sales director at her father's real estate company, held a position that was clearly too big for her. Over time, her attitude towards Jennifer had become more condescending and critical. Jennifer let out a deep sigh and met Michael's gaze. Her husband nodded silently, as if he understood perfectly what she was feeling. His eyes conveyed a clear message. "I support you in any decision you make." "Okay, I'll go with Michael," she finally said after hanging up. A slight anxiety settled in her chest, but her desire to maintain a good relationship with her parents was stronger. In general, everything in her life was in order. Her job as a senior human resources manager in Chicago, her quiet home with her husband. Only her relationship with her family weighed on her heart. "Are you okay?" Michael asked softly, with the consideration he always showed. He held his coffee cup between both hands as if, with that gesture, he wanted to offer her comfort. "Yes, probably," Jennifer replied with a smile, although more complex emotions shone in her eyes. Dinners with her parents always felt like a test, but tonight was special. It was their wedding anniversary. It had to be a good time, or at least that's what she tried to convince herself as she returned to the breakfast table. 7:28 p.m. Lil Blue stood elegantly in a corner of Chicago's exclusive Gold Coast. Located in a renovated historic building from the 1920s, the restaurant exuded sophistication with its cream-colored exterior walls and window frames adorned with gold leaf. Situated right next to the Drake Hotel on Michigan Avenue, it was the favorite spot of Chicago's elite for special occasions. Getting a reservation there was no easy task. Their lobster salad and prime rib steak were legendary. The weather that night seemed to mock the occasion. A light rain had begun in the afternoon, making the reflections of the streetlights shimmer on the wet sidewalk. When Jennifer got out of the taxi and walked towards the restaurant entrance, she felt the rain in her heart. She placed her hand on the heavy brass handle and paused. For a second, her reflection in the glass door returned the image of a woman dressed in an elegant deep blue cocktail dress. She had chosen it carefully, sophisticated but not exaggerated. Michael had called to let her know he would be late because of work. Still, strangely enough, she felt a slight comfort. Her husband's presence always gave her strength. "Miss Miller, welcome," greeted the floor manager Andrew with a refined smile. His impeccable posture and perfectly adjusted bow tie reflected the high standards of the restaurant. Each of his movements denoted years of experience. The crystal chandeliers cast a soft light, creating delicate shadows on the marble floor. The silver cutlery gleamed on pristine white tablecloths, while a Chopin nocturne played in the background. Around her, high society clients enjoyed a night of luxury and sophistication. Jennifer took a deep breath. "I'll be meeting my family. This way, please." As Andrew guided her to her table, her heartbeat began to accelerate. Perhaps deep down she already sensed what was about to happen. And then, upon arrival, the scene in front of her was exactly what she had expected. Her parents and sister had already finished dinner. The empty main course plates were carelessly stacked on the table, and a bottle of expensive wine was almost empty. The remains of lobster and rib steak bones were arranged as if they had been left there deliberately. Jennifer immediately understood the intention behind those words. Beside her, her father, Robert, had a slightly uncomfortable expression. The formerly imposing face of the real estate company president now showed signs of fatigue. Although his suit was still expensive, the fabric looked somewhat worn. Even the costly watch on his left wrist seemed to have lost some of its former shine. Still as clueless as ever, Ashley let out with a malicious smile. Her sister wore a dress from the most exclusive section of a department store. Although too flashy for her age, on the table she left her new smartphone, strategically placing it as if she expected someone to notice and praise it. Jennifer silently looked at her watch. Exactly 7:30. The hands of her Rolex confirmed her impeccable punctuality. Although at that moment she was sure the restaurant's reservation system showed a different time. A cold anger began to spread through her chest. "I would like to confirm the reservation time." Her voice sounded surprisingly calm. Although rage burned inside her, her expression remained completely serene, like ice. Andrew, the floor manager, frowned slightly in confusion. "Your reservation is? Could I speak to the manager?" With those words, the atmosphere at the table changed completely. Her mother's smile froze. Her father suddenly sat up straight. The color drained from Ashley's face. Under the soft lighting of the restaurant, every detail in their expressions became evident. The conversation at the next table seemed to stop. For an instant, her mother's hand trembled barely as she took her champagne glass. Her father unconsciously adjusted his tie. Ashley gripped her phone so tightly that her knuckles turned white. Andrew paused before speaking. "Allow me to confirm the information." His professional smile tried to hide the growing tension in the environment. Jennifer, for her part, stood firm. Her determination seeped into every word. The classical music playing in the restaurant seemed to intensify the tension in the air. The Chopin nocturne played a melancholic melody, as if presaging what was about to happen. Outside the window, the Chicago nightscape shone with a silent glow. The lights of the skyscrapers twinkled as if they were watching what was unfolding inside the restaurant. The headlights of the cars passing by Michigan Avenue cast intermittent shadows on the table. Everyone seemed to hold their breath, waiting for the beginning of this moment of truth. "My apologies for the wait." A refined voice cut through the tense air. The manager, James Hartman, appeared with impeccable bearing. A veteran in the restaurant industry with more than 30 years of experience, his gray hair was perfectly combed and his tuxedo impeccable. "Miss Miller, is there anything we can help you with?" Jennifer gave him a courteous smile. "I just wanted to confirm the time of the reservation." Just at that instant, the heavy doors of the restaurant opened, and a new presence entered the scene. "Father-in-law, good evening. I just stopped by." Michael approached the table with confidence. Although he wore the same navy blue suit he had worn during the day at work, he now radiated a different presence. "Michael," Robert's voice trembled. Manager Hartman's expression changed in an instant. "Mr. Miller, we were expecting you." Everyone at the table noticed the immediate change in his tone. The manager's attitude toward Michael was clearly special. "Allow me to check the system," Hartman said, taking out a tablet. "The Wilson party's reservation for today was scheduled at 6 p.m. "What?" Ashley exclaimed involuntarily. And we had special instructions for Miss Miller to arrive at 7:30 p.m. The color drained from Patricia's face. Robert sank into his chair. Michael spoke softly. There are some matters I'd like to confirm about our restaurant. Our restaurant. Ashley's voice cracked. But Michael is just an employee at an IT company. Her sister's words sounded hollow, as if clinging to a crumbling reality. Michael smiled slightly, with a dignity he had never shown before. Manager Hartman slid his finger across the tablet with even more respect. According to our records, the Wilson party arrived at 6 p.m. They enjoyed the special lobster salad, the prime rib steak and creme brulee for dessert. Every word from Hartman revealed the meticulous planning behind the manipulation of the dinner schedule. The empty plates on the table now seemed like evidence that the meal had ended at 7:15 p.m. The chandelier light illuminated the table with revealing clarity. Each glint on the cutlery and plates seemed like a spotlight exposing the truth. Michael slowly approached Jennifer and stood beside her. His presence was that of a guardian. Actually, Lil Blue is mine. His words were about to open a door to a new truth. The atmosphere of the restaurant seemed to await that moment with anticipation. The Chopin Nocturne had subtly changed to a different piece, a deeper melody charged with emotion, intensifying the tension in the room. Outside the window, the Chicago nightscape shone even brighter, as if the city itself was ready to witness what was about to happen. The candlelight and the chandeliers flickered slightly over the table, as if anticipating the truth that was about to be revealed. Manager Hartman maintained his impeccable composure, cultivated over years of experience. Although his eyes watched the scene with unusual interest, he had witnessed many dramas in this restaurant. But what was happening tonight promised to be special, even for him. Patricia could no longer hold her fake smile and clutched her purse with trembling hands. Robert remained motionless as if time had stopped. Ashley stared at her cell phone screen as if seeking escape in it, but her fingers trembled visibly. In Jennifer's eyes shone a quiet determination. The lifelong conflict with her family was finally reaching its denouement. Michael's presence at her side gave her an unexpected sense of calm. I should explain. Michael's voice marked the beginning of the truth. Lil Blue is the flagship restaurant of the Chicago Restaurant Group. His voice resonated firmly in the elegant dining room. And this group is one of the companies I manage. The Wilsons were petrified. You have to be kidding, Ashley murmured, her voice cracking. But you only work at an IT company. A senior vice president at an IT company. Michael smiled calmly. Yes, that's true. But that's only part of my business. Manager Hartman intervened respectfully. Mr. Miller operates 5 luxury restaurants in Chicago. All have earned Michelin stars. Michael gently placed a hand on Jennifer's shoulder. And the majority shareholder of this restaurant group is Jennifer. The champagne glass in Patricia's hand trembled violently. But why? Robert's voice was hoarse. Why didn't you ever tell us? Jennifer replied softly. Because we didn't think it was necessary to brag. Family isn't measured by money or social status. At that moment, Robert's body slumped onto the table before sliding to the floor in a deep bow. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. His voice trembled, laden with tears. The image of a 65-year-old man in an expensive suit prostrate on the floor caused a stir among the nearby tables. The company has been in trouble since the 2008 real estate crisis. We've been dragging debts. But I couldn't tell anyone my pride, this damned pride. Patricia's makeup was starting to run with her tears. We could only keep up appearances. We were afraid of what others would think. We thought we had to maintain our status. Michael's voice sounded surprisingly kind. Why didn't you come to us for help? At those words, Ashley stood up abruptly. Tears streamed uncontrollably down her face. It's my fault. It's because of my failures in sales. Her voice was shaky. I've only closed 1 deal in 2 years. But still, my dad appointed me director of the company. Ashley, Jennifer called to her sister. Ashley looked up, her face soaked with tears. I'm sorry for looking down on you, sister. Ashley's words came out as if a dam had burst. You always paved your own way. But her voice was lost in sobs. The Chanel mascara ran in thick black lines down her cheeks. I was always jealous of you, of your talent. Your marriage. Everything. That's why I was so cruel to you. The background music in the restaurant had changed to a Tchaikovsky melody. Its melancholic notes added an even deeper emotion to this family confession. Jennifer stood up slowly, her blue dress under the dim light of the chandelier. "Mom, Dad, please raise your heads." Her voice had strength but also tenderness. "I'm not going to blame you for what happened, but I want things to change from now on." Her parents raised their faces uncertainly. "Let's build real family ties, not based on appearances or false pretenses," Jennifer continued. "I'm going to let this incident go." Michael nodded silently. "Dad, I'm going to introduce you to some specialists to help you with your company. I think it's possible to rebuild it." Then Jennifer's voice became a little firmer. "But we also need to rethink our family relationship." Ashley wiped her eyes awkwardly. "From now on," but the words caught in her throat. Jennifer hugged her gently. "Yes, from now on, let's move forward together as true sisters." Michael watched the scene warmly, and then signaled to a waiter. "I think tonight deserves a toast. As a real family." The glasses were filled with a golden bubbling champagne, as if it too were celebrating this new beginning. 6 months later. Winter in Chicago. The snow fell softly over the quiet neighborhood of Northbrook. The warmth of the fireplace filled Jennifer's living room. Although the Christmas tree was not yet decorated, a small wreath in the window subtly announced the arrival of the season. "Dad, can you review these documents?" Robert adjusted his reading glasses and began to analyze them. The reconstruction of his company was progressing step by step with the support of the specialists Michael had introduced him to. The loan refinancing was complete, and new projects were gradually beginning to bear fruit. "Thank you, Jenny. Thank you all." His voice no longer had that intimidating tone of before. Now instead sincere gratitude was heard. On the table was a tray with simple but lovingly prepared sandwiches. "Oh my goodness, it's so late already." Patricia poked her head from the kitchen wearing an apron. That image would have been unthinkable months ago. Her expensive jewelry had disappeared. Instead, a warm smile lit up her face. "I tried baking cookies. I used the recipe Jenny taught me." The sweet aroma of vanilla permeated the whole house. Patricia had found a new joy in a simpler life. They had sold their huge house in Winnetka, and now lived in a more modest but cozy condo. "I'll help you." Ashley hurried towards the kitchen. She had resigned from her father's company, and was now studying to get her real estate license. She was following a new path, one that for the first time she had truly chosen for herself, to pave her own way. "Oh, but before that," she stopped and took out her smartphone. She checked the results of today's exam. The atmosphere in the room tensed for a moment. Tears shone in Ashley's eyes. It was proof of the first achievement she had obtained through her own efforts. "Congratulations." Jennifer hugged her sister with a genuine smile. "It's all thanks to you, sister. You were always there encouraging me." The relationship between the sisters had changed drastically during these 6 months. Their rivalry had faded, replaced by mutual care and deep understanding. "Where's Michael?" her father asked, but his voice no longer carried that old attentiveness. "He'll be home soon. He said he could leave early today." Jennifer sat in the chair by the fireplace and gently placed her hand on her barely perceptible belly, calmly feeling the pulse of the new life within. "Actually, I have something to tell you all." Just at that moment the doorbell rang. "I'm home." Michael entered, shaking off the snow, with a small Christmas tree in his arms. "Honey, is that?" Jennifer asked. "I thought we could decorate it together. As a family." Michael approached Jennifer in the living room, illuminated by a warm light. They looked at each other and nodded softly. "We're going to have a baby," Jennifer said slowly. After a moment of silence, the room erupted with joy. "Oh my God!" Her mother put her hands to her mouth in surprise. Jennifer's father's voice trembled with emotion. "Sister." Ashley rushed to hug her sister again. The aroma of cookies, the warmth of the fireplace, the family smiles. Everything seemed to be celebrating this moment. "The due date is next summer," Michael added. "As a new member of our family." "That's wonderful." Tears shone in her mother's eyes. This time we can truly be a real family." Her father nodded deeply, silently. His expression showed a peaceful happiness, something never seen before. Ashley looked at her sister's belly with a soft smile. I'm going to be the best aunt in the world. I promise. Outside, the snow continued to fall silently, as if gently covering the wounds of the past, as if blessing the beginning of this new family story. Jennifer looked at the face of each member of her family. The old pretense and vanity had vanished, replaced by genuine bonds. These 6 months might have been the most meaningful time of her life. Well then, she stood up. Let's start decorating the Christmas tree. As our first memory with our new family, Michael assembled the tree. Her mother brought the cookies. Ashley opened the box of ornaments, and her father added wood to the fireplace. The room was filled with a happy air, contrasting with the cold outside. A comforting atmosphere prevailed. This was what a true family looked like. Without money, without status. It was about caring for and supporting each other. Jennifer was sure that this was the true meaning of family. The flames of the fireplace flickered softly. Their light seemed to illuminate the new family's journey forward.